GYPSY Rose's reality show is revealing so much about her relationship with Ryan Anderson, her stepmom's involvement with her ex Ken, and how everyone is handling the fallout. The show has turned into a platform where lies and deception are being exposed, and honestly, nobody is coming out looking good. The level of truthfulness on display is shocking, with the participants airing out more than they probably should, revealing facets of their lives that don't paint them in the best light. As we've seen, Ryan has been trying to defend his own name online, and GYPSY has also made attempts to defend hers. But the reality show has all the receipts, and there's no hiding from the footage. We know GYPSY and Ryan are divorcing, and GYPSY is now with her ex, Ken. GYPSY has claimed that Ken was not the reason for the split between her and Ryan, despite how quickly the two started hanging out again after her breakup with Ryan. She insisted that they were just good friends, but now the show is revealing more about how they reconnected. On the show, GYPSY's stepmom, Chris, explained that she has maintained a friendship with Ken. She mentioned that she still talks to him and that he sent her photos from when he and GYPSY were together. Chris recounted how, when the two broke up years ago, she was upset with Ken because he had promised to be there for GYPSY. Chris admitted that she believed Ken couldn't handle the pressure of GYPSY becoming famous and the scrutiny that came with it. She tried to justify her continued communication with Ken by saying that just because her children break up with someone doesn't mean she has to break up with them. Chris even threw some subtle shade at Ryan by saying that, while she liked him, she felt that if GYPSY and Ken had still been together when GYPSY got out of prison, she wouldn't be worried about GYPSY's safety. It was evident that Chris didn't like Ryan as much as she liked Ken. Chris shared that Ken had recently explained to her that he broke up with GYPSY because people were telling him that if he truly loved her, he had to let her go so she could find herself. Ken told Chris that if he had known GYPSY would later get engaged to someone else, he never would have let her go. Later in the episode, Chris told GYPSY that Ken had reached out to check on her, and GYPSY was shocked. Chris relayed Ken's words about how he let GYPSY go so she could find herself, and how he regretted it. It was a dramatic moment, and if I were Ryan watching this, I'd be furious. GYPSY later admitted that after her breakup with Ken, she held on to the hope that he would come back to her. When he didn't, she met Ryan, and they eventually got married. But Chris told her that Ken wanted to reach out to GYPSY, but didn't want to ruin her happiness, especially now that she was married. GYPSY said that she was going to tell Ryan everything that Chris had told her because she didn't want to keep secrets. She wanted to have open communication with Ryan, but she did admit that if she wasn't with Ryan right now, she would be with Ken. GYPSY was honest with the producers, stating that she was committed to Ryan, but worried that if they got into an argument, she would think about the fact that Ken was still single. GYPSY later told Ryan about the conversation, and he was understandably mad at Chris for keeping the door open with Ken. Given that Ryan and GYPSY are now divorcing, and that Ken is back in GYPSY's life, Ryan was right to be concerned about Chris' involvement. Even GYPSY's dad warned Chris not to get involved or maintain contact with Ken, but she did anyway. This has led to significant backlash online, with people questioning why Chris continued to communicate with Ken in the first place. Since all this has come to light, Ryan has taken to social media again, expressing that he has a lot to say and wondering if people would be interested in hearing his side of the story through a book. He vented his frustration with Chris, feeling that she had tried to ruin his marriage. In one video, Ryan said, "I have so much to say about my side of the story and what actually happened. A friend suggested I write a book about my experiences. I don't know if I should, but if I did, it would be the truth." You saw the clip where Chris talks to GYPSY about Ken. That was my first day back at work, and I don't know what mother-in-law would do that to ruin a marriage. But there are so many more situations like that. In a different video, Ryan defended himself after being labeled as creepy and weird for being overly touchy and overbearing with GYPSY in previous episodes. He explained that he was just excited to see her after she got out of jail. Ryan said, "I saw some comments where people thought I was creepy in the first episode. You have to realize, guys, That was my wife getting out of jail. I was excited. I had waited 3 years for that night. We talked about that night a lot, so if you think that was creepy, imagine getting out of jail and your husband doesn't want to touch you. You'd think something was wrong. On the show, GYPSY also opened up about feeling confined in the apartment she shared with Ryan. She said she organized the space to keep herself busy and avoid flashbacks from her past, as her mother was a hoarder. GYPSY mentioned that their fridge was cluttered, and if you recall, when it was first announced that GYPSY and Ryan were divorcing, sources claimed that GYPSY was upset with Ryan for being a food hoarder. This allegedly led to a fight when GYPSY cleaned out the fridge one day. Ryan denied these claims, posting a TikTok video showing his fridge and claiming it was very clean. He said, "I don't even know what a food hoarder is. That's ridiculous. I don't have food hiding under beds or anything like that. I have a gastric sleeve, so I can't eat a lot, and I do get to go plates." Maybe that drove GYPSY crazy, but it is what it is. I don't like wasting things, but here's my fridge, nothing crazy. However, the reality show's footage showed a much more cluttered fridge at the time they were living together, with empty condiment bottles and no room for new food. GYPSY had collected 2 big trash bags full of items from the house, including old food, and threw out some dirty pillows, which Ryan wasn't happy about. It was his apartment before GYPSY got released, and for her to clean it without discussing it with him likely caused some friction. There's something off about Ryan posting that TikTok, trying to make GYPSY seem like a liar, especially when there's footage showing the fridge was indeed messy. In recent live streams, GYPSY, now with Ken, responded to Ryan's TikTok, even throwing shade at him over the fridge situation. She showed off her new, neatly organized fridge with Ken, emphasizing how different it was. Despite the fridge situation being blown out of proportion, GYPSY later clarified that it wasn't as big of a deal as everyone was making it out to be. She said, "Despite what everybody thinks, I didn't get mad at Ryan over the fridge. We didn't have an argument about that. But the drama doesn't end there. Ryan got on live himself recently and revealed that GYPSY had told him she missed him. He said, "It's getting hard for me to stay respectful. Yes, I did text GYPSY during her live with Ken, but don't let her fool you, Ken. She called me last Saturday saying she missed me, and she said a lot of other things too, but I'm not going to go there. I want to be respectful." Ryan's frustration was clear, and he hinted that he had more to share but would let the lawyers handle it from now on. He ended his live by saying, "Believe me, they will handle it. Rumors have been swirling about Ken's intentions with GYPSY, and she clapped back at one creator on TikTok who was criticizing him. GYPSY responded, "Oh honey, I am so not threatened by you. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. You're just mad because I have a Chad, and last time I checked, you don't have a man. So looks like you're the one that's pawnini pressed." This whole situation continues to be incredibly messy. GYPSY is happy with Ken, but Ryan claims she's still messaging him. It just doesn't end, and the drama keeps escalating. That's the update as of right now. I certainly want to know what you guys think about all of this, from her stepmom being so involved in her relationships to the fridge controversy and the ongoing tension between GYPSY, Ryan, and Ken. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye guys.